That's why I went out of town. Because I was depressed and thinking crazy thoughts in my head. But by the time I was 5, he was taking a little control over my situation, right? Because
Okay.
he wanted to cut my hair and groom me into being a man and a boy and stuff like that. My mother, I don't know what, I can't, to this day, I can't figure what her thinking was. They were pretty sure that if I got in a fight, somebody had to do something to me.
Okay.
So when they work with me, they work with me to keep me from putting myself in positions where people would do things to me, so I wouldn't have to act out. I think, I think it broke her heart that they lied to my father, that they put our family house in jeopardy, and that they sent me to jail too. And because she actually looked me in my eye and asked me, said, "Mom, I didn't hit that guy with no rock." Well, why? Because I had like 5 fights under my belt as an amateur boxer. Good dude. He's a truthful person. He's moral. He's honorable. All of that. And he's the best Christian I ever met. He's a man. He's a hell of a Christian too. Loves Jesus.
Huh.
Loves him. Jesus.
Me too.
You know?
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, well, we're back again with the second portion, and I am once again speaking with Ralph Wilkins, and my name is Bridget Moore, and we're doing a session. Um, would you like to go ahead and start off with letting us know how your evening is going, Mr. Wilkins?
Quiet, very smooth. Um, I'm playing cards with myself.
Okay. I know that we did a lot of information uh, the last time. It was very interesting. We started off talking about just your childhood. Of course, we went into great detail discussing how you went from growing up to going to prison, 2 different sentencing, to getting out, to going back in. Um, but we wanted to discuss more so just taking it back to your childhood. I know that we left off with talking about an incident that we hadn't discussed in detail, and I wanted to go straight in and just pick right up on that. You talked about molestation, and you said that that didn't happen at the hand of a woman.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just go straight into it because it was something that was pertinent to speak of. A lot of victims, at any age, um, they feel that they will hide it, they will, disclose it to certain individuals. Some victims will share it with the world. It's just different avenues that people tend to take. So let's go ahead and just address it and put it on the forefront of what type of person you are. Do you feel that you are a survivor? Do you even consider yourself a victim?
Um, for years, and even now, I guess I don't consider myself a victim because I never consider myself a victim of anything that's ever happened to me. From what she did to some of the stuff that happened to me growing up around some of my neighbors, neighborhood kids and shit. To There's a lot of shit went on in my life, a lot of stuff at the hands of people in my neighborhood folks, right? So, a lot of violence,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of craziness, right? I used to get jumped on because of my skin color, my skin tone. I stuttered real bad, and I couldn't say what was on my mind. So I used to try to fight. I didn't learn to fight till my brother took me to a gym and had the man teach me to box. But
Mm-hmm.
as far as squirming, they call it squirming, like something squirming
Mm-hmm.
Tillman. Well, she was a heavy set, light skinned black woman, and maybe she wasn't all right upstairs. I don't know. I was friends with her nephew,
Mm-hmm.
a guy named Michael. Might have been her son. I don't know the family structure. I don't really know. But me and Mike used to hang out and play a lot. We're little boys, right? And one day I went over there to play with Michael. Michael wasn't there, and she got me out back, and she made me do it to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
her. I didn't think much of it. I know that was something I couldn't tell my parents because all hell would break loose. Because I had no business over there, right?
Right.
Um, if I had told my brother, he would have told my father. My father would have told him what he would have done to her and all her relatives. He was super protective of his children,
Right.
and I was the one who was always out going somewhere doing something off on my own, And I kind of like being able to go places and do things on my own, even though now when I think back how dangerous some of the stuff I was doing, right?
Yeah.
You know, I I used to lose sleep over some of the stuff I used to do as an adult. And when I think back about it, I would lose sleep because it was so dangerous. There were several things I've done could have killed me, for real, for real. Um, just hanging out. It's like people would do bad things to me, and we would fight about it, and I would win the fight, and I would consider it over. But I wasn't wise enough to know that people harbored ill will and they would not forget. They had bad memories, and oddly enough, I had forgotten a lot of stuff. Like when I get on the phone now, like since the internet, a lot of them get in touch with me. Those that are left alive, from the neighborhood, and they tell me about things that we did together. And some of them praise me as a hardcore, tough nut, fighting kind of guy. Man, you was a beast. You was this and all that. Now, I don't remember all of that. I don't remember none of
Right.
that. All I remember is from the incidents that I never forget what anybody did to me. And I remember fighting back, but I don't know. I don't have a active memory about how far I went with it. And of course, over time, people have imaginations and their memories get messed up, and they tend to remember things in different ways, right? And they don't remember everything. They insert their own facts, and they don't understand it, right? So,
Right.
but This was a summer's day. We was hot. I remember it was hot. I had on shorts, and me and Michael had dug some holes in the backyard in his mama's backyard, and took some water and made dirt balls, and we would throw them at each other like they was hand grenades. We just play soldier, play army with them little green army men.
Okay.
Uh, and I went over there because we have been all summer we've been having dirt ball battles, right? Hitting each other with dirt balls, and
Right.
it was big fun, you know. And I was like, we was like 12 and 13, you know. We wasn't like little teeny guys. We was early teens, right? Well, most guys was chasing girls at the time, but you know, we didn't have no interest like that. I didn't care nothing about no girls. Um, I could dance, but you know, because I stuttered, I had no success with talking to girls. But back in the day, in those days, you know, if you wanted a girl, you had to be able to tell her, look, I like you.
Okay.
Um, um, and it wasn't can we be friends? It was I like you, and certain things came as understood that you're my girl and I'm your guy, right?
Okay.
I never got to none of that in my life. In those days, I never got around to none of that. I was still playing with army men, right? Um,
Right.
Cowboys and shit like that, right? Um,
Mm.
she drugged me out back and she made me do that. Uh, she didn't have to force me, but that wasn't my focus of my attention, you know.
Right.
Um, I didn't think nothing of her. It wasn't because she was such a nice person or nothing like that. I had paid her no mind. And she had a niece named Gilly and one named Peaches, two sisters.
Mhm.
They was my age.
Mhm.
And yeah, I like them for real. But you know, I hadn't thought about it. You know, not like that. No way. Anyway.
But looking back on it now, you know, being older, you realize that that was wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
She was dead wrong.
Right.
I had no business being exposed to that by her at that
Mhm.
time.
Exactly.
And
And it wouldn't matter even if you know, because you said she didn't force, you know, even
oh,
if you told her, yes, you know, you could have said, yes, I want to, it wouldn't matter, you know, you still shouldn't have been exposed to her regardless, you know?
yeah, that was real cruddy.
Definitely.
Uh, and as a matter of fact, she infected me with gonorrhea.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons why I remember it, because man, you never forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Never, that's painful. You never forget that.
So how did you go from getting that handle without telling your parents? Like how
Well,
did that get?
I did tell my parents about that part, about the gonorrhea
Okay.
part. My father didn't even ask about who I was with and all that stuff. He
Okay.
didn't ask me. I didn't tell him, but I didn't tell my father. I went and told my mother
Okay.
because my mother, she was my go-to person.
Okay.
Uh, my father was, you know, he would have snapped. You know, couldn't tell that dude nothing like that.
Hmm.
Uh, he would have went completely bonkers.
And let me be clear, when you said you couldn't have told him versus telling your mom, are you saying that you told your mother that you had some type of disease because you were telling your mother like you slept with a girl, or you're saying you told your mother someone took advantage of you and gave you a disease versus you telling your
So
father you slept
I
with a
told my
girl?
father, I told my mother that I had heard my brother and them talking about the collapse, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would say they describe it like collapse.
Okay.
And my brother, one of my brothers explained it to me when I asked, well, what is that all about? Collapse. And so he said, well, it's gonorrhea. And I said, how you know when you got it? He told me about it, right?
Okay.
One I love, two she loves, three she's true to me.
And I've been having this discharge in my underwear, right? And I was hand washing, rinsing off my underwear because my mama, she did all the laundry. And I believe she would have been checking. You know, I'm not sure about that. I wasn't sure about much in those days, come to that. So I went and told her. I said, Mom, I got this problem.
Mm-hmm.
I explained it to her, and she said, say no more. And she got my father. He took me to our family. We had a family doctor named Dr. Hudson.
Okay.
He was a part of Howard University, Freedman's Hospital. They call it Freedman's Hospital, where I was born at in D.C. It's now it's a part of Howard University Hospital. And so he checked me and he said, yep. He gave me 2 big old giant shots, penicillin and something else on both my butt cheeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I came home. I couldn't sit there. I was leaning up, kept rocking from side to side. Me and all my brothers and my father, because it's 4 boys in the family. Well, the older boys anyway. Little Day, he didn't. Wasn't no need to involve him. He's my baby brother.
Okay.
Uh, he's 4 years younger than me.
Okay.
But we was all in the car, and they didn't ask me who or where or what, right? But my brother Stuart kind of figured it out. He said, "I bet that's that old nasty squirmy because everybody's saying she giving everybody the claps around town."
Oh wow.
You know, my
Okay.
father, he didn't say nothing, and uh, he probably knew. I didn't say nothing. I didn't. If I had complained and was upset, he would have did something about it. He'd have went and choked out her mother, her father, and everybody else. But Squirmy she was 35 years old when she did that.
Mm.
I was about 11 or 12, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what she did made me super sensitive about my baby sisters and them all my life. Um, I'm super protective of my baby sisters because of that one incident. Because at that point in my life, I realized that things could happen that weren't real good, weren't real cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we live in a small, kind of tight knit community, and but knowing my father, he might have said something to somebody. I don't know if he did or he didn't, but he was the kind of guy that he would go and say something and keep it to himself. If he had to do damage to somebody, he would have done it right off the top. He wouldn't have asked no questions. That's why I've always had to be careful about going to him with things because he'll snap and hurt people about his
Right.
children. Come to one of his babies, he would snap and hurt somebody really quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he shot a dude over me.
Oh, okay. And what was that over in reference to?
Well, I got in a fight with a guy named Tyrone,
Mm-hmm.
and I won't give his last name because his family is, they are, you know, a lot of them are still around. Some of them, the older ones are all dead, but um, some of them still around, and they might want to sue for me using the name, right?
Okay.
So, but Tyrone, he was when we was in school together. He was 2 years younger than me, a year younger, something like that. I was in a place called Fairmont Garden Apartments. I was about 15, 16 years old. Fairmont Garden Apartments was like a neighborhood hangout. It was a apartment complex with like two buildings, two separate buildings, but in one of the buildings it was four separate cases of stairways as far as apartments go, as far as the set, right? So it was pretty big. And I had this little girlfriend there, right? Well, somebody I wanted to be my girlfriend, and we was talking, and I had taken her to the teen club, Family Heights Teen Club at the fire hall. We were dancing and hanging out, having a good time. And I was working a construction job, and I spent a little money on them. You know, we was young. Sodas, sandwiches, little trinkets, a flower here and there, right? I liked her. So I walked her home, and in her hallway, this guy Tyrone was there. Well, I knew Tyrone, but I didn't know Tyrone, right? I,
Mm-hmm.
I hung out with his brother a little bit, Ezra. We used to box. The whole community was full of boxers. Ezra could box, and I could box. And everybody he and I were both light skinned, and everybody said, well, Ralph can beat Ezra, and Ezra can beat Ralph. They'll put us up like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Ezra had a brother I was 14 or 15. He had a brother who was 17 or 18 at the time. And his name was Hebo.
Okay.
He dead now, so I don't care if you say something or not. Hell with him. Tyrone spoke up and said, don't nobody want you, Wilkins. But he came off like he was acting like a little girl, sissy girl. He come up with
Mm-hmm.
all this feminine crap, right? And it made me uncomfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Him acting like that. So I got in his face. I said, you need to mind your business. He spit in my face.
Mm.
And I beat him down to the ground. I beat him up real good. And he left and went his direction. So I was hanging out with my girl. He threw a few punches, but shit, I could box. I was
Right.
right. So I boxed him up real nice. I didn't kick him and stomp him or nothing like that. I hit him maybe 7, 8 times. I punched him in the mouth until he quit fighting. And
Right.
about 30 minutes later, Hebo walks up. Hebo's a grown man, but I'm about 5'7" or 5'8", something like that, because I stayed short until I got to be 20, 21. Then I got my extra 4 inches. I jumped from 5'8" to 6 feet in no time, right? Anyway, but I was thick. I was chunky.
Mm-hmm.
Hebo say, "You beat my brother up." I said, "Yeah, he spit on me, spit in my face." He said, "Well, you was wrong." I said, "Man," I went to walk away. So he smacked me upside my head. So I hit him with a body shot. And I turned around and started fighting him. I was fighting him real hard. And we were standing there toe to toe. Instead of him fighting me like a man, he goes in his pocket and takes out a bottle of beer, cracks me across my head. But when he came, and some guys came with him, got Kedgy waiters and some other guys came with him. The reason why I mentioned Kedgy's name, because one, he dead, he gone. But
Mm-hmm.
two, Kedgy went and told my father that Hebo hit me with a bottle that we've been fighting. My father asked me about it. I said, yeah, we was fighting. He said, what you fighting about? I said, his brother spit on me, so I hit him in his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So he says, come with me. I don't know what my father's got in his mind. I said, I can beat Hebo one-on-one. I can beat him. I had him going. That's why he used the bottle on me. So he hit you with a bottle. I said, yeah, upside my head. I saw a little lump on my head. I said, oh, okay. And he didn't say nothing. He used to smoke Philip Morris cigarettes. I'll never forget it. Drove a Diplomat cab. We drove up there to a place called The Hill. It was Chapel Oaks. It was Sheriff Road, old Sheriff Road. You went up there now, you would never know it was like that because they tore everything down, and you know how they gentrify stuff, right?
Right.
And this was blacks gentrifying against other blacks. So it ain't always white people that do it.
Yeah.
He was in a place called the pool, Smitty, Chapel Oaks pool room next to Smitty Seafood. And Hebo at the time, I didn't know he was coming to fruition as a drug dealer. He had a gun on him. He was a drug dealer. He had 5, 6 guys in the back with him, standing in the back of the pool room, standing around talking. My father walked up to him. My father was a pretty formidable guy. And he used to go in that corner and gamble and have a few drinks or whatever, right? And carouse a little bit, I guess. I don't know. He had a reputation for being a rough customer.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Hebo, you hit him with that bottle across his head?
Mm-hmm.
He said, yeah, he hit me in my body, and I thought he might have broke a rib. My father had on a windbreaker, a little lightweight jacket. And
Okay.
he had his hand in his pocket at the time. He didn't rush up to him. He would ease up to him and talk to him. So it wasn't nobody, in alarm or nothing like that. So he eased out. He had a little 22 automatic, a revolver. He eased the 22 out and shot him. Pow! And put it back in his pocket. Ain't nobody see it. Kedzie was the first one to holler, Clyde, don't do it, no, Clyde. Damn, Clyde. So Hebo ran out the door. Ran through the pool room out the door. So we got back in the car and left. So that night, the police came and locked my father up.
Mm.
And
So he got did he
he got
have to
arrested.
do time behind
No,
that? Okay.
no. We had a lawyer named Lawyer Nana.
Mm-hmm.
Nana got my father out on $5,000 bail and took the case for him, but he took my father's and mother's house in Hawk. They had to sign it over until he went to court.
Okay. Okay.
But all he got was probation. All he got was probation.
Okay.
5 years probation, something like that.
Okay. So your dad, so you wouldn't know what type of mood your dad was in, whether if you was to go to him one day, he could go to bat for you. Another day, you could actually find yourself at the hand of him, so
Sure.
to speak. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have rules. Some things you didn't do.
Okay.
Did it, you didn't bring it home.
Right.
The rules was if you're out there messing up, keep your mess up out there.
Mm-hmm.
No drugs of any type, any size, way, shape, fashion, or form.
Okay.
And if you're out there messing up, you keep that crap out, keep that crap there. He didn't want to hear it.
Okay. So pretty much he was the type of man that he would go to bat for you. And depending on the day, he would lose control if need be over his children. Am I hearing you correctly from your perspective?
No, he never lost control.
Okay.
If you mess with one of his kids, wasn't no such thing as control or nothing like that. He was coming at you
Okay.
real hard. And that was like a planned thing. He planned to go off on anybody who mess with his children.
One I love, two she loves, three she's true to me.
Live to see that I'm all right, that I made it through okay. And my neighbor out back building shit on my property here and not saying nothing and just standing. He built it and stand back, watch.
Right.
I ain't say nothing. My brother say, let it go, don't say nothing, you know. Niggas chasing around the jail with shanks trying to just tell him, man, open cell, we're gonna kill Frog. And he talking about that's my cousin. I told him I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Right? What you wanna do? She said, she told her that he just speaking. People can't speak to me, and I'm going like, that's when it dawned on me that they got kissing cousins around here.